According to a U.S. national security specialist, the possibility of Russia using nuclear weapons is not as implausible as Western information may indicate. The possibility of a nuclear assault by Vladimir Putin is not as unlikely as many people think, according to former U.S. General James Clapper. According to Western intelligence, senior Russian army officials have discussed the use of a tactical nuclear weapon at a high level within the Kremlin as pressure on Putin grows in response to Ukrainian military achievements. I am sure there have been many of debates among high Russian commanders about nuclear weapons and whether or not they should be deployed, or when, said Mr. Clapper in an interview with CNN. What's lacking from all of this, or at least what's missing from the material that is readily available to us, is an explanation of why the Russians would really deploy nuclear weapons. What more efforts would they make in addition to those previously made? Which is steadily destroying Ukraine's civilian infrastructure with conventional weaponry. I still believe the possibility of using nuclear weapons is remote, but it is less remote than it was before February 24. Another retired U.S. general stated this week that Vladimir Putin would lose everything because Russia would finally be compelled to cede all of the land it had captured in Ukraine since 2014. Ben Hodges, who oversaw the American army in Europe as commanding general, forecast that Ukraine will eventually reverse all of Russia's military advances since 2014, including its liberation of Crimea. Putin is frantically trying to hang on to the area in southern and eastern Ukraine that Russian forces have managed to seize but are now finding it difficult to maintain as Kiev stages new offensives backed by Western-made weapons. I think that Ukraine will have freed Crimea by the summer, the former general told Times Radio. I believe so because we've discussed who has the better will. Compared to the Russians, Ukrainian military and citizens. The Kerch Bridge being broken, the Russians are currently working to strengthen the path that runs down through Mariupol in order to resupply their forces in the southern part of Ukraine. The logistical situation for Russia is severe, as you may already be aware. Their logistical infrastructure was already poor, I would say depleted even before this, and now they're adding a couple of 100,000 more troops who would only add to the pressure. And the logistics system has been appropriately targeted by Ukrainians for some months now, whilst the Ukrainian system improves every week. There are still some significant gaps in the availability of guns, ammo, and what we would describe as the current upkeep required for all of these various weapon systems. We've discussed who has the stronger will, and I predict that Ukraine will have freed Crimea before the summer. Both Ukrainian army and citizens.
theme of the NDS is the need to sustain and strengthen U.S. deterrence, with the People's Republic of China as our pacing challenge. As the President's National Security Strategy notes, the PRC is the only competitor out there with both the intent to reshape the international order and increasingly the power to do so.
In 1946, the US military set off a nuke underwater to see what would happen, and it went very badly. You see, the Navy was trying to prove that their ships could survive a nuclear explosion, so they lowered the bomb 90 feet in the water and put their ships over it. The LSM-60 was right above the bomb, and it was completely pulverized. Other ships sank right away, and the extreme radiation destroyed any remaining ships.
Is coming back for his church. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 24 verse 42, "Watch therefore, for you do not know the hour your Lord is coming." I want you to know, church, that Jesus Christ could come this month, or he might come next week, or he could even come